You're listening to the British Baseball Podcast. We are back and we are away. Baseball family, Matthew here with the British Baseball Podcast. Alongside me is a very excited, very wonderful human being, Jonathon Cramman. Coach, how are we?
I'm amazing, mate. Thank you for having me back. I'm fired up.
Thank you for getting my lazy ass back on this podcasting train. But we're not here to talk about me. We're here to talk about you. This summer, the GB Under-23 baseball team made history, storming through the European Championships and bringing home the gold medal, the first GB gold medal since the 1938 Amateur Baseball World Cup. No pro leagues, no big salaries. You all know this. It's just pure passion, grit, and belief. And the heart of it was their manager guiding this young squad to the top of Europe. Today, he's back on the show to take us inside that incredible journey from the turning points on the field to the untold stories from the dugout. Jonathon Cramman, let's go.
Do it. Fired up.
Going, yeah, going into the European Championships, what were your expectations for the team and what point did you start to believe that the gold medal was possible?
Uh, First of all, thank you for letting me motivate you and get this going. I think as we talked about before, it's amazing
Mm,
what you do, and I'm always a supporter if I'm not on, which I feel like I've been on a lot now. I feel like I'm a semi-regular guest now.
thanks for your hat trick.
Um, hey, I appreciate it. Good goal to get the hat trick on.
Mm,
In terms of the belief, I think we've always, as a group, even beforehand when I was assisting Drew, we've always had a blind belief in doing things that probably don't seem possible. I think the difference is this time it wasn't necessarily a blind belief. We looked at the talent on the roster and the type of young man that we had and the level of coaching staff that we had, and it was probably around April when I visited the States on a recruiting trip that I began to let myself dream a little bit every night. Every day we go and see a new guy play or two new guys play. And it was probably that trip, the long car rides on that trip, thinking about this lineup and this pitching staff and kind of realizing, I don't think we have any holes anywhere. And in tournament baseball, holes get exposed really fast. So, I mean, don't get me wrong, the day after the final 2 years ago when we got demolished by the Dutch, if you'd have asked me if we were going to win in 2 years, I would have told you yes. But that was probably just the competitive nature talking. So yeah, I'd say that spring trip, when I got home from that spring trip, I told my wife we're going to win a gold medal this year.
what was it about? What was that recruitment road trip like? Who was there with you? What sort of journey did you go on? How many games did
Um,
you see?
it was great. It was me and my bench coach, Connor Brooks, who's been a long time help of the program since he
Hmm.
came in. I flew to his home in Boston, and the next morning we flew down to North Carolina. Um, Watched Wallace Clark, who's now been drafted by the Arizona Diamondbacks, play for Duke. And then we drove north back to Boston, and we basically stopped every day at one or two baseball games and stayed in a hotel late at night after the night game every night. So kind of got to live like the old school scout life, kind of pounding pavements, driving from school to school, and the game finishes in Virginia at 4, and we need to be in Philly for a game at 7, so we got to get in the car and go. But it was great. Obviously, when you're going to watch Division One baseball players, you expect a certain level of baseball, and they
Mm,
delivered. They were great baseball players. I think the thing that I enjoyed the most, or the thing that gave me the most confidence, at least, was after every game we'd talk to these guys, and during the game we'd study them quite strongly. Um, and they were just good blokes. Like there was just we have a firm. I'm not going to say the word, but we have a firm no idiots rule. Um, and they were just great blokes. Jackson Kramer, who hit five and played center field for us. We went and watched. He goes to Richmond in Virginia. We went and watched Richmond play George Washington, and Jackson wasn't playing that day. He was actually out of the lineup, which was
yeah.
obviously not perfect for us because we'd driven all the way there. Game went to extra innings. It went 14 innings. And he was like the most into it person in the stadium, and he didn't know we were there. He wasn't doing it, on accord of us being up in the bleachers. I remember looking down in the 11th inning and he had like 10 of his teammates' hats on and he was doing a rally dance with the bats. And I was like, that's the type of dude I want on my team.
Yeah,
So I think it was that, man. It was just, they were just great kids, great human beings. I wanted to be around them. Um, and that's hard to get that many people that make you feel that way.
yeah. Sounds like you got some great players in there. Like when I was looking through the match reports as well, some new faces on there, new names for me to look into and add to my spreadsheet, which is always good. The games you started off with a 7-0 win over Israel, but then you got a loss by Czech Republic 3-0. Then you went on to beat France and the Netherlands. That was 4-3 and 7-4. At any points during that tournament, which after that defeat to the Czech Republic, did you learn a lot about that team then that helped you in the final against them?
Yeah, definitely. I think we learned more about ourselves, to be honest with you, and the group. Um, we Connor Brooks is, as well as the best bench coach in Europe, is the best advanced scout in Europe, and our scouting is miles ahead of every other nation. So we knew going in that Sindelka was a problem, that Pospisil could hit, that Kurzel was going to throw strikes. We knew that. I think it, when that game finished, we lost 3-0, obviously, like you said. And when that game finished, my DH and the guy that was going to be catching the next morning, Andrew Johnston, he kind of took me aside as we were cleaning the dugout up, and he was upset. He was angry and kind of yelled at me a little bit. And he told me, "Hey, the bullpen, the relief pitchers, they can't go and sit in the bullpen. I don't want them in the bullpen tomorrow. I want them in the dugout with us." So that we can create our energy because we've always been a high energy team. That's always when
Mm,
we've played the best. We've played high energy baseball. He's like, we've only got four guys in the dugout right now when we're on defense, and it's tiring. They can't keep that energy going. We need the bullpen in here. And he was mad. I mean, he was pissed off at me. And I'm glad that we created a culture where a player felt empowered and passionate to tell me how he thought we could be better. I always remember something Antoine Richardson told me at the WBC, which is if a player tells you something, believe them.
yeah,
So AJ told me that, and I believed him. We got the bullpen down for the France game, which, you know, no aspersions, but we had to play an elimination game against the French at 10 a.m. And the last pitch of the Czech Republic game the night before was thrown at like 10:14 p.m. We didn't eat dinner until 11 p.m. So it was a really quick turnaround and it,
yeah.
it, it was tiring. It was exhausting. Having the bullpen in the dugout that day gave everybody just a little bit of a lift. And I truly think the energy that they brought that day kind of catapulted our tournament, kickstarted our tournament a little bit. We found our feet as a baseball team and we knew who we were as a baseball team after that day.
Brilliant. How do you think the players handled the pressure of the knockout stages, especially like knowing what was on the line for British baseball?
Better than I did, probably. They were just. I think we did a good job with culture, and they were so bought in. I mean, and I'll tell some of the stories during this chat, but as you know, and as anybody that's listened about our program over the last few years know, we always have a meeting before every tournament, the what does it mean to me meeting. And as GB guys, we always talk about the best ones
Mm,
where the whole room's crying and we're holding each other and we find this amazing common bond. There's been other times though where we've done that meeting and it's, nobody's going to force that type of emotion. We tell each other how we feel and then we move on. This team, when they did that meeting, it was uh, awe-inspiring. Um, and when I'd heard the adversity that they'd faced, multiple of them. I mean, some of these kids, man, the things that they've lived through. When I'd heard the level of adversity they'd faced, and I knew the type of young man they'd come out the other end of that adversity as, I knew that pressure wasn't going to be an issue for these guys. And frankly, it wasn't. Um, they handled it brilliantly. And I think, after that France game, for example, just going back to France, we won that game on a really close play. Alistair Morin did a really good job getting across on a ground ball. Our first baseman, Jack Wallace, dived for it. He missed it. Um, I want to say Cole Leclerc was playing second base. No, it was Will Kramer. Will Kramer's playing second base. He fields the ball, throws it to Alistair on the run. Alistair comes across the bag from pitcher, catches it and falls over. And for me, the world kind of slowed down for a second. Everything sort of stopped for a second because the base runner's rounding third base at this point. So if we haven't got the guy out, they've tied the game up. And so I'm in manager mode, right? Like, who do we get up in the pen? What do we need to do to get out of this inning? How do we score? Da, 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 da. Umpire calls him out. We've won the game. We're 2-1. We're going to the knockouts. But I was in that moment, I really was feeling the pressure, right? If we lose that game, we're going to the relegation round.
Mm.
We can't lose this game. And after we get done high-fiving each other and doing all the stuff that we need to do, I go and sit in the dugout just to take a second to slow my heart rate. And Jaquan Smith, who, if any of the guys on the team are listening or any of the coaches or anyone who's watching know, is a man of few words. It's why we love him, but he's a man of very few words. Came up to me in the dugout and grabbed my arm, said, "Hey, that was what this team needed today," and walked off. And I felt like I'd hallucinated it because Jaquan doesn't unprompted speak to people. It's not his style.
Yeah,
Um, he was dealing with the pressure better than me in that moment. He lifted me out of it. He gave me confidence in that moment. So they crushed it. In terms of that, I learned from them. They didn't learn anything from me.
that's amazing. Are there any unsung heroes whose contributions might have flown under the radar that we should know about?
Yeah. Obviously, if you've been around me and you've heard me talk about this, you know how passionate I am about this. Paul Stoddart, our operations manager, is the best. He's the best. He works so hard all the time. He never takes a second off on in any day. He's the first one up every morning. He's the last one to bed every morning. And he does such a great job that I just have to focus on baseball. Um, and for anyone that's been on the road, it's the little things like the bus is always on time and the schedule's always right and the food's always ready and the laundry's always done. And if we need certain type of card stock to make our charts, he goes and gets it. He brings a printer with him so he can print while he's in the car. He's just the best. And the operation was an extremely smooth operation because of Paul's incredible contribution. So I just have to make sure I give my props to the ops man because he's the best. In terms of the roster, I think you had three pitchers that only threw one inning for that baseball team. Sam Hutchinson, Cameron Moore, and Owen Bourgeois. And I've spoken to each of them about this since the tournament. It would have been really easy for them to be upset or annoyed at that situation. And, your culture is only as strong as your least bought in guy.
Mm.
And we might have been in a situation with 17 dudes desperately pulling in the same direction to win, but these three pitchers are annoyed because they're not throwing as much as they used to where they're coming from. And they were incredible teammates every day. They got on with it. And I asked a lot of all three of them, I asked a lot of. I put them in spots that weren't necessarily conducive to success, but I had to for what we thought was best of the team. And they nailed it. And they didn't pout. And it wasn't about them. They didn't care. They just wanted this baseball team to win. So in terms of unsung guys, Paul, those three pitchers, Sam Hutchinson, Cameron Moore, and Owen Bourgeois. And then also just quickly, we had a young man, Aryan Chopra, who only saw the field once to pinch run against the Netherlands. But again, he was there to learn and help GB win baseball games in any way he could. So those five for me are the real unsung heroes of that team.
Brilliant. You described some stuff there about the culture. How would you describe the character of this under 23 squad, and how's it differed over the squads that you've been involved in the past?
Um, I think it was just the best of all of the cultures we've had. It was just if you had have been in our meeting room or our lunch room on day 3 or 4 of that tournament, you would have sworn this team's been together for 5 years.
Mm.
Um, It was just a very open, honest place. The rallying call, one of our coaches, Jeremy Sheets, who
Yeah,
shout
yeah,
out Sheets, one of the best in the game. Um, he had a rallying call, I love you, I trust you. And it kind of became just something that everybody said to each other constantly every day. And it started as a joke, and then it sort of became a legitimate rallying call for this baseball team. And it was true. There was a lot of love and a lot of trust in that room, and guys were able to, it's the first team I've ever been on where I've had pitchers. Sometimes in tournament baseball, you get to the field and you've got two or three guys who it's like, hey, you guys go throw right now. Let us know how it feels, and then we can figure out how the bullpen for tonight looks.
mm,
Right? Because you don't know until you turn it over. It's the first time I didn't have a pitcher lie to me about how his arm felt in a good way. I had guys come down and be like, I don't think I can today, Skip. And that was because they just wanted us to win and they knew. Whereas I think in previous years, because maybe the talent level wasn't quite as high, it was hard to have that level of trust. So we'd have guys say, "Yeah, I'm good today," and then they weren't.
yeah,
Um, so that just the love and the trust in the room kind of characterized the micro relationships and the macro relationships of the whole team.
yeah. That's awesome. And you spoke about the catcher after the Czech game. Were there any other standout leadership moments from the players, either on or off the field, that you want to talk about?
Yeah, there's a lot. I can't get through all of them because I think we probably had 20 captains, to be honest with you. Jake Lamdin was our official captain. Um, I'm not going to divulge too much information just out of respect for Jake and the process, but
Yeah,
Jake had an opportunity to play at a much higher level provided to him this summer, and a potential to make money from the game of baseball, and turned it down to go to this European Championships because he wanted to win it so bad. And that was the moment he became my captain because that's a level of leadership that I can get behind. Um, One of the ways I'm able to, I think, as a manager, I've learned to lean into being good at is I think I speak well. I think I'm quite articulate,
mm,
and I think I have the ability to deliver a message to a players in a tone and in a depth that allows them to play kind of angry but loose at the same time. Um, for the semi-final game, when we got done with the pre-game festivities and we'd done our managers conference, I walked back to the dugout ready to give my Churchillian "Let's go" speech, and they were doing it already. Jake Lamdin was telling them the same things I was about to tell them already, and they were holding each other tightly in a. Actually, if you can watch it back on the screen, I actually walk off into the dugout because I looked over and said, "The only thing I can do is ruin the vibe over there. Like, if I walk in, it's going to be like the head teacher walking in the classroom and everybody shuts up,
yeah,
right?" Um, so Jake just took it and carried it. But Ollie Duthie and Zach Sahoski on the pitching staff really took charge. They had young Owen Bourgeois with them who wants to do what they're doing. And they took him under their wing. And every morning at breakfast or every night at dinner, he was sitting with them and there was a baseball on the table and they were talking about things. And on the first night in Prague, I ordered mandatory fun for the players. I insist that you go out and have a beverage with each other this evening and hang out and get to know each other. And my veteran guys, Jake Lamdin and Andrew Johnston, Tucker Stockman, they really took
mm,
that. They grabbed the guys. Hey, we're going to go have a drink together right now. They ordered cabs. They made it happen. So it's all of them. I could sit here for like 6.5 hours and pull out. And then this, it
yeah.
truly, truly, truly a crazy happenstance that we managed to get 20 leaders selected onto one baseball team.
That's brilliant. You painted a fantastic picture there of what's happening behind the scenes and within the group as well. It's brilliant.
I mean,
Thanks for sharing
I
that.
think I remember the first time I came on here, I said that the 3 hours a day that we're playing baseball is the least important 3 hours of the day. The other 21 hours are what matters. And I'm going to pat myself on the back. I think that was a prophecy at the time because the time they spent together off the field is what made on the field happen,
Yeah.
you know? Because everybody's good at that tournament. It's an 8 team tournament. There's no days off. Germany just got relegated, and that German team is so incredibly talented.
Yeah.
Um, Everybody's good. So the separator isn't going to be that we throw harder than them or that we run faster because they have guys that throw hard and run fast too. Um, so culture has to be it. It has to be the thing that separates us from everyone. And they bought in. They bought in.
That's amazing. So let's talk about the future impacts this might have had as well. So what do you hope this gold medal means for British baseball as a whole?
Um, we're allowed to win. It can be us. Um, and it doesn't just have to be if you have the opportunities provided to you by another country.
Mm,
Um, I went down to the London Mets youth camp this morning. They had a camp. So I went down there this morning and I brought my medal and I told the kids all about the last 3 years and WBC and coaching against Japan in China and winning the Euros. And then I asked them where they thought I was from. And I got New York, LA, Philadelphia. Um, when I pointed over the road and said, no, I grew up in that building over there and I went to this camp in 1999, I saw some of those kids have the face that I had in 2000 when Margaret Borley, God rest her, told us one of us is going to be an Olympian one day.
yeah.
And I took it really to heart. So from that standpoint, the part I'm most proud of and that probably makes me feel a little bit emotional is that ability to try and create moments and legacy that we won't know has succeeded until 20 years from now when some kid is getting interviewed because he's won the Hall of Fame and he grew up in Guildford and he says, yeah, I watched that U23 team and it really inspired me. Um, and then just seeing the lift it's given people. I go down to the 108 a lot. I do lessons down there. The first time I went down there after the tournament, there was a young man with his father picking up a bat that they'd won at the MLB event in
Mm,
Stratford, East London. And he was excited to see me. And I've never met these people, but they recognized me from the stream. Oh gosh, they wanted a photo. Um, that wasn't how it was when I was a kid. It was the GB coach is also the Bracknell coach, and you see him 20 times a year and you know his wife and that feeling, you don't get that feeling. If we're beginning to create that feeling in these kids, that's amazing because that's going to make them work really, 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 really hard.
yeah.
Um, but most of all, it's like I said, it's that, like Drew used to say, permission to dream, right? I think we've gone past permission to dream. I think it's permission to win.
Yeah.
Um, I always felt that when I was a player, I think we lost games because we were more worried about things that weren't winning and losing. We were worried about how it looked or how it sounded or, just being regimented. And we showed that winning is actually amazing and it does many, many, many things. Um, so yeah, that's the part that I probably haven't been able to process yet. And it's something that I said to the players when we got home. My favorite author is Sir Terry Pratchett, RIP.
Oh, yes.
Um, and in his Discworld novels, there is one of my favorite quotes about a man's memory doesn't die while his name is still spoken. And I told the players that, and I said, hey, in 1,000 years, this team will still be alive because it will still be true that this was the first European Championship ever. So that's the part that I think is going to have the biggest impact is that we can always point to it. And my big hope is that we don't have to wait 87 years in between tournaments like we did this time.
Hmm.
My big hope is that it's only a 3 week wait before we do it again after
Yeah,
the
man.
women.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, it's really that's really interesting that what you said. I mean, you can't underestimate the power of seeing people like us doing these things. I remember watching the under 12s with my son and then him sitting there watching it on the sofa and just being like, I want to play for GB. I was like, that wasn't dripped in by me. That's what he wanted to do. I was like,
I
right,
mean,
well,
when
I'll
I
help you as
was
best I can, but it's all in your hands. But it's just seeing those moments of kids that age being what he wants to be, and the knock-on effect, like you said, then you've set this it's historic moment. People are going to look at it and think, "What's next?"
well, I hope so. I think if we all bear down, and that's the crazy thing, right? Is that winning just breeds more problems almost, right? Now we got to keep winning. Um, but if we bear down, I think with everything that's happened in the last 5 years for our community, if we don't take this half a decade that we've just had and that it's going to keep going for a few years up until that Olympics, and turn that into the catalyst for us being an A grade European nation that's perennially top 10 ranked and sending kids to university and
Yeah,
getting pro ball opportunities, then we've messed up, and the moment, the night, the medal, the experience, the memories, those are amazing, and I'll always have those. But it's about something bigger than that. And we have to make sure that we bear down and we nail what we do from here to make sure that that legacy isn't just words, but is also actions, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well said. Spot on. Well, like I said, the next one's coming end of September. So it's not too long away now for see if Brad and the boys can try and replicate. That'd be something incredible too.
Yeah. Yeah. It's gonna be a good baseball team.
Mm,
So that's what I'm gonna say. It's gonna be a good baseball team.
can't wait. And we got the ladies as well, the women's senior national team who did an absolute bang up job as well, bringing home
They crashed it. That
the
was
gold as well.
people don't understand just as somebody that has lived this tournament life for a really long time. People don't understand. On day one, they beat the defending champions. It considered like they battered, right?
Hmm.
16-1, I think it finished.
Yep.
Then the rain comes and they lose day two, which in a 3-day tournament ruins pitching plans considerably.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Then they're down 9-0 to the Dutch on day three, that should be day two. They're staring down the barrel of 15, 14 more innings of baseball. They beat them and then come back and beat the team that beat them in the group. It's it's unbelievable what they did. Like the level of mental fortitude those women must have to have faced everything they faced and to just keep going at it is amazing. And I've always felt like tournament baseball is a war of attrition.
Mm,
It's like on day one, the team that's going to win it doesn't always emerge. And actually, a lot of times in my experience, the team on day one that has the tournament buzzing about how good they are usually lose in a semi or something, right? Because they peak too early. Um, to do what they did is nuts. And I spoke to Pietro on the phone. Me and Pietro were teammates with the Mets for a very, 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 very long time. And I did have to make fun of him a little bit and be like, dude, you're jacking my style. Like, we beat the French, you beat the French. You lose to the Czechs in the group, we lose to the Czechs in the group. You beat the Dutch to make the final, we beat the Dutch to make the final. You beat the Czechs 9-7, we beat the Czechs 9-7. It's kind of funny to me how incredibly similar, even though the journey was quite different, incredibly
yeah.
similar a lot of those results were. So yeah, big up to them, man. Amazing. I'm so happy for them.
Yeah, yeah, me too. I think we all are. And it'll be no surprise to know that I've got Pietro coming up very, very soon as
Good.
well.
Well, I hope he's watching this because I love him and I love making fun of him. But I hope you've got like Zoom Platinum Plus Pro because that's going to be a 4.5 hour interview.
I get
Because
30 hours on this bad boy.
right, well
30
that should
hours I can
just
get.
about cover three Pietro stories. So
I've got to fit Chris Ward in as well because he did a great job with the under
yeah,
12s as well in that qualifier. Yeah, so much to talk about, and I've got all next week to do it as well, which I'm very much looking forward to. Let's
let's
have a bit
go.
of a curveball here for you, some bit of fun. If you could pick one song to be the official soundtrack of this championship run, what would it be and why?
Ain't no mountain high enough. Motown song.
Hmm.
Yeah, for sure. It's like I was I can't remember who I was telling this the other day. I was telling someone the other day the tournament felt like it was in black and white for a little bit while we were finding our feet. And then when Jaquan Smith hit that ball over the right fielder's head against the Netherlands in the sixth inning to give us the lead, it was like the color exploded to life and the Motown song started and the montage happened and Remember the Titans, you
Hmm.
know? So
Yeah,
that would be at least something Motown-y, this very montage colors song. It would have to be.
brilliant. And without naming any names, what's the funniest or most unexpected thing that happened in the dugout during the tournament?
Uh, I, I, I'll reveal a little bit. We're one of the few teams in Europe that talks trash. We talk. It's who we are. It's part of our culture. Nobody else in Europe really does it, and they kind of hate that we do it. But something I feel really strongly about is that it's a skill.
Hmm.
And I told the players this, it's not as simple as just screaming obscenities or offensive things. If that was the case, everybody would be good at it.
Yeah.
Like, in cricket, they have sledging, which is the same thing. The reason the Australians are so good is because they're so dry and cutting. And they don't have to swear or yell. They just they have this ability. And I think in the first few days, a couple of our guys crossed some lines. I think they yelled some things I wasn't happy about, and I told them to shut up. Um, Against the Netherlands, one of our very younger guys, started just a little chirp during the game, betting out loud about whether the pitcher was going to throw a strike or not. And he kept it going for 6 innings. He kept he kept the math going for 6 innings. So in the first, it was, "Hey man, I'm betting $10 that you're going to throw a ball right now. Let's go. Now I got $15." But by the end, because of 6 innings of being wrong and being right, by the sixth, he's like, "Dude, I have $111, someone's sandwich from lunch, and that man's grandfather's watch. I'm gonna bet all of it that you don't throw." It was one of the funniest things I've ever. It built and it built and it built, and it was so funny, and it helped keep us loose. So there was a lot of that. There was a lot of that, and then the crazy play, which I feel like GB baseball only seems to win big games with crazy plays. Um, the Tucker Stockman Little League home run. Um, in the final against Czechs, he comes in, he scores. The guys are going. It's carnage, right? The entire dugout is out of the dugout on the field celebrating. It's bananas. And they come back in the dugout and they're screaming and jumping around. And I'm obviously excited, but we got 3 more outs to get. And we're still hitting. Like, just we need to just. So I'm in the dugout and I'm grabbing older guys, leader guys, and I'm like, "Hey, we just need to calm down. Can everybody just take a sec? We still have to play defense." And Lambdin grabs my shirt. He says, "Can we just freak out about it for 5 more seconds?" I said, "Yeah, man." And he grabs Tucker Stockman and they jump up and down, shaking each other, screaming, "Oh my God," for 5 seconds. And then they stop, they take their helmet off, and it's all business. And in my head, I'm like, I want to laugh so bad. I can't
Yeah,
because it's a big game, guys.
yeah.
But it was so funny. And then yeah, a lot of baseball stuff that you can't say on a podcast. Suffice to say, there was multiple belly laughs every single day, and that's without even talking about the coaching staff. And I'm going to segue here. I hope you don't mind.
No, go for it.
I'm just going to take a minute to shout out my coaching staff. Um, I firmly believe I have the best coaching staff in Europe at any level. I'll put my guys up against any staff at any level against anyone in Europe. Um, Part of the reason for that is that they're amazing baseball coaches that know the game so well. But part of that is because they're some of the funniest, friendliest, loving people I've been around.
Mm.
Um, so being around Sheets and Trick, Todd Stevenson, our hitting coach, and Brooksy and Worley, Henson, Maggie on DeLeo, Guffey, Andy Brown, um, the laughs from the coaching staff were severe every day as well.
Yeah.
And Todd Steverson, for anyone that doesn't know, our hitting coach Trick. Um, he has a turn of phrase like nobody I've ever met in my entire life. And he has the ability to make extremely serious moments hilarious by saying two words. So yeah, I have to shout out those guys too, because part of the trust in love and trust is being able to laugh at things even when it's scary. And we were able to do that as a group. So yeah, I wish I could tell you them all, but most of them are not podcast material.
Well, most of the good stuff isn't, but we may do what we get. And I appreciate all the nuggets that you give us. So looking forward, how do you plan to keep this momentum going for future competitions?
I think we're fortunate. We only have one player aging out of that team for the World Cup next year, which is Jaquan Smith. We have 19 returning players, which, if you go and look back at the history of the U23 European Championships, it's very unusual to not have a bunch of 23-year-olds if you win it. Um, this is actually a young team. You know, Jacob Landin is only 20. Um, Sam Hutchinson is only 20. A bunch of
Mm,
these guys are quite young. So I think for the World Cup, we're going to be returning 19 players, plus we'll get to add five because the World Cup is a 24-man roster. Um, as everybody knows, we're going to pursue every available target, and there are some big targets out there playing professionally that we're going to go after. Um, Mainly though, I think we're just going to lean into what we've been good at. Um, Augie Garrido, the famous college baseball coach who was the manager of the Texas Longhorns and won a bunch of national championships with them, told somebody once, the way to win is to recruit well and don't mess them up. We didn't say mess them up, but again, podcast, recruit
of
well, don't
course.
mess them up. Um, that's kind of it. Like we're gonna find good players. We're gonna make sure they're good blokes. We're gonna tell them we love them, give them the roadmap to success, and then let them go do it, man. I think as a coach, you want to feel like Geppetto sometimes,
Mm,
and you can't. And as a player, it's the worst feeling when you feel like you don't have autonomy over yourself. And I certainly played for people who I felt I could feel the strings above my head moving me and making me do certain things. We're just going to lean into it. We're going to lean into what makes us good. I think if you look at our results at the World Cup last year, if you look purely at wins and losses, that looks like a bad tournament. Um, and then if you go and look at the actual games themselves, you
yeah.
see, oh man, this team could have really easily won 5 games at this thing.
Yep.
Um, so we're going to be smarter, and I think it's natural. I certainly felt it with the London Mets. When you're the second place qualifier to a tournament, you're an underdog by proxy. Like you're an underdog by your nature. You're not even the best from your continent, and you're at the World Cup, which is something
Mm,
that we faced last year. And yeah, we beat the Dutch, but they had a better tournament than us. We're going to be able to walk into this World Cup next year, top dogs of Europe. We're the best on our continent, and I think that's also going to give the players an extra bit of confidence and lift that might help us get over the hill against a Colombia or a Puerto Rico or a team like that, or
yeah.
an Australia. So yeah, we're just going to stay at it. We're going to stay being the hardest working people in baseball, and I don't know. I don't want to overcomplicate it because we haven't overcomplicated it thus far, and it seems to be working.
Yep. Awesome. Are there any players from this under 23 squad that you think could make an impact on the senior Great Britain team soon?
Yes, eyes peeled for when that roster comes out because there will be some crossover. And I think every guy that we had has the potential and the ceiling to impact the senior national team.
Mm,
Um, and that's the point of the team ultimately, right? Like I love wins, I hate losses. Competition is gets me going. But ultimately, my biggest job is to give Brad winning players, right? Like how
yeah.
they win, the profile with which they win is doesn't matter. Um, I think all 20 guys could. I'm not saying they will because it's up to them. They have to do the work and they have to be committed and dedicated and all those things. But yeah, they all absolutely have the capacity to be impact players for the national team one day.
Brilliant. Yeah. And hopefully can take that momentum, like you said before, into that team and and build on it. Looking forward to it. It's gonna be a good September.
It's gonna be a very good September. It's gonna be
Indeed.
a very good September, I
Mm.
hope.
Yeah, last couple of questions then from me, and I'll let you have your Friday night back. If Hollywood made a film about this gold medal win, who plays you and who plays Lambin?
It's a difficult question, Big, because like you're gonna come across as an idiot no matter what you say here, I think.
Nah.
Um, I'm gonna go, I'm gonna take Keanu Reeves if he puts on like 10, 15 kilos for me. He's got to get heavier. He's got to fill out in the face, but I reckon Keanu would do a good job and it would make my wife so angry. So I'm all in on that.
But you're not a Keanu
Um,
fan.
no, she loves him to
Oh, I
bits
love him too.
and she doesn't want me to have joy. So I think she would be so upset. Lamdin, I don't know, man. It's Lamdin is he's young and he looks young. He plays like he's 28, but he looks like he's 15. So it has to be one of those. I don't have hobbies. I don't know any of these young actors. Um, but I don't know. Maybe you take that Timothy Chalamet bloke and
Chalamet. Yeah,
dye his hair blonde and teach him to play shortstop. Maybe he could do a half decent Jacob Landon impression.
sounds good. I'd watch it.
Mate, I'd pay money to watch Jake Lambdin play baseball. That's the,
Yeah,
that's the top and bottom of it.
you know it. You know it. If you could sum up the feeling of that final in one word, what would it be?
Hope,
Hmm.
hope, because on a personal level, I've had lots of crazy dreams in my life about things that I want to do, and we keep ticking crazy things off the list. So it gives me hope that the other crazy things on that list can get ticked off. Um, and then I think the only reason we won that nutty baseball game was hope, belief. Like it's the only way it happened. So that'd be my word, hope.
Brilliant. And what's the first thing that you said to the team after they became European champions?
Many expletives. Um, we talked before the tournament about the objective and the goal. They were different. The objective was what we had to do. The goal was what we wanted to do.
Hmm.
So the objective was qualify for the World Cup. The goal was win the European Championships. Um, so we just kind of went back over the journey. I said, hey, objective completed, goal completed. When we got together, we said we wanted to be this type of baseball team, and we've done that. Um, then I told them the Terry Pratchett story about a man's memory. And then we were on a bus back to Prague and celebrating. Um, for anyone that's done tournament baseball, that last game, everything goes crazy after that last game, win or lose. Everything just
Hmm.
goes really fast. So it was back to the hotel at 11:40 for a midnight bus back to Prague. So we did all of our culture stuff. We have three baseballs that represent different things. We handed them out to who they went to that day. But yeah, it was more, to be honest with you, I've learned over the years that like talk less, dude. Right? When I was young, I felt like I had to be there all the time and curate every moment. Um, if I was 20 years old and I'd just come back from 7-0 down to win the first European Championships in my country's history on enemy territory in front of 1,500 of their fans, I'd want to go to Prague and have a good night. I wouldn't give a toss what the coach said, even if I loved him to pieces. So that was my main thought. Genuinely, was like, good job. We're going to talk more, but let's get you guys to Prague. Go celebrate your win tonight. It's their show, man. It's like it's about them. So I didn't want to impede on their moment. I wanted them to just enjoy each other's company.
What a great way to end. That's brilliant. Jonathan, thanks again so much. A gold medal, a team for the ages, and a story that proves British baseball can go toe to toe with Europe's best. Huge thanks again to Coach Jonathon Cramman for sharing the moments, the memories, and the magic behind this championship run. And if this doesn't inspire the next generation to pick up a glove, I don't know what will. And if you enjoyed this conversation, please follow us and subscribe whenever you get your podcast. And why not share it with someone else who loves baseball just as much as you do? And until next time, keep swinging, keep believing, and we'll see you out there on the field.